GSMC.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the GSMC Fantasy Sports Podcast. Unfortunately, you are going to have to listen to me ramble on after we had a very exciting time with our special guests from the podcast network. But we should have some good segments like I said, and especially this segment. I'm really excited for this one because we will be analyzing for the first time ever my rookie fantasy football mock draft. Now, a lot of these guys obviously are just promising prospects who are looking to get on an NFL roster, but I really like what I was able to do with this team. We have a nice little mix of guys who I think will have a fantastic rookie year and guys who, while are going to be seen as more rotational options, I still believe can find their way onto the field, get some minutes. So without further ado, let's get right into it with our QB. Not a bad one to have in J.J. McCarthy. Obviously, we can talk a lot about how J.J. McCarthy is going to have a tough time getting on the field. Obviously, the Minnesota Vikings have Sam Darnold now, so we're going to have to see when J.J. McCarthy is implemented into the squad. But in terms of who he is as a player, I think he really fits into Kevin O'Connell's scheme fantastically. I don't think he's going to have to be asked to do as much as people think, and he will have a receiving core that he can rely upon steadily. And Justin Jettis still has to figure out that whole contract situation, but having a guy like Jay Jettis and an up-and-coming young receiver in Jordan Addison as your two top receivers is not so bad when you're a rookie in the NFL. So we'll have to see when J.J. McCarthy steps into the starting role for Minnesota, but I think he will do very well. I think he's in good hands there. Mike Clay did project him to have a fantastic season. I don't know if he projected him to maybe start mid-season if Sam Darnold did not get off to a good start. But these are fantastic stats from what I see from Mike Clay's projection. He projected him to have over 3,500 yards, not bad for a rookie QB. 19 TDs through the air, 196 rushing yards. As we all know, J.J. McCarthy, one of his assets is his dual threat ability, and 2 TDs on the ground. So as you can see, J.J. McCarthy is one of those athletes who is going to be a high risk. Obviously, if you're in a real fantasy league, dynasty league, PPR league, what have you, J.J. McCarthy, you kind of don't want to really take that risk on. But in a rookie draft, if you want to see how these rookies can play, J.J. McCarthy's an appealing option. Obviously, you have guys out there who will start right away, and Caleb and Jaden and maybe even Bo Nix. But J.J. McCarthy is a project who you guys should be very excited about for Minnesota. I think he will develop nicely as the season progresses should he start some games. But overall, I really like J.J. McCarthy in a rookie mock draft at the QB position. Some other guys I'm really intrigued by. Let's go to the wide receiver position, where I selected with my first wide receiver, Brian Thomas Jr. from Jacksonville. Obviously, Jacksonville is a very interesting situation for a rookie QB. You have a guy in Trevor Lawrence who has had his ups and downs, kind of a roller coaster ride for him in the NFL. And then you lose a guy in Calvin Ridley to your kind of division rival in the Titans. So you really are kind of looking for that next big thing at receiver, and Brian Thomas Jr. could be that. We saw last year in that explosive LSU offense what he could do, what his speed and pace means to this team in terms of vertical routes. He's also a fantastic polished route runner as well, so he should be a go-to target early on for Trevor Lawrence. Look for him to find the connection. Obviously, the Jacksonville Jaguars do have some foundational pieces kind of in that skill position group, but they're not necessarily a big-name wide receiver. You have guys like Travis Etienne at the running back position who can receive out of the backfield, and then a guy in Evan Engram who's slowly becoming one of the best tight ends in the league. So I'm kind of looking for Brian Thomas Jr. to kind of set right into this offense as kind of Trevor Lawrence's go-to target, whether it be on vertical routes, whether it be on crossing routes. I'm really excited to see what Brian Thomas Jr. can do in this offense. And then another guy who I'm really intrigued in the wide receiver position group in this rookie mock draft I did is Jacob Cowing out of San Fran. Obviously, San Fran, you know, they have a multitude of talent at the wide receiver position. They have guys like Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, fantastic year last year. Jawan Jennings slowly coming on as the year progressed. But Jacob Cowing, as it stands, is behind Brandon Ayuk in the depth chart, only the second stringer. So expect Kyle Shanahan, one of those offensive geniuses, to kind of want to rotate in younger players to the receiving core for Brock Purdy to kind of use as different tools to progress this 49ers offense. The sky is honestly the limit for this 49ers offense, and Jacob Cowan could be an intriguing part of it over these next couple of seasons. Obviously, there has been kind of a little bit of rumor surrounding what will happen to the future of the 49ers receivers, but in terms of going forward, I think Jacob Cowan will slowly be implemented into this offense, become one of Kyle Shanahan's favorite offensive weapons. Now, looking at the running backs, I have a couple of guys who I don't necessarily expect to play a lot because they're in very tough running back rooms to kind of compete in, but I think that they're kind of nice little projects for a rookie fantasy mock draft. Starting off with Audric Estime, another of these Jersey running back products of St. Joseph's Regional. Shout out St. Joe's. Audric Estime was just a fantastic running back overall, fantastic contact balance, fantastic yards after contact, just a bullish kind of running back you kind of want in your system. But like I said, the Broncos running back room is going to be tough to break into. They already have an established star in Javonte Williams. You have guys like Jaleel McLaughlin, Samaje Perine in that running back rotation. So it's going to be hard to come by in terms of minutes for Audric Estime, but I am really intrigued to see if he does get any minutes at all this season. And then there's another guy in Cody Schrader who had a fantastic year at Missouri last year, a breakout star in the SEC, moving to San Fran, where obviously Christian McCaffrey is already established as the go-to guy at the running back position. But Cody Schrader's just a nice little utility project to keep your eye on in the next decade or so. Maybe he can be one of the preeminent kind of backup options for a fantasy squad in the next couple of years. But the position I'm most excited about in terms of this draft is the tight end position, because this is a guy whose ceiling is super high, and I think that is actually his floor is very high. So, obviously, in Jatavion Sanders, you have a guy who's like a freak athlete at the tight end position. He can receive. He can block for you. He can run seam routes seamlessly. He's obviously not the best tight end in this draft, in this rookie class. That would be Brock Bowers. But Jatavion Sanders, going into a Carolina offense, is looking for different levels of production in that skill position group. Obviously, you have a guy in Adam Thielen who's getting up there in age, and a guy in Jonathan Mingo who just got drafted a year ago, and a rookie quarterback in Bryce Young who's kind of in that same situation. So they really want to find a guy who they can really utilize at all levels of the offense. I'm really thrilled to say that Jatavion Sanders could be that guy. I saw him at Texas, obviously, as someone who's a huge Texas fan. He was so integral to how that offense set up. And moving into a Carolina system where Dave Canales comes in, the different mindset going forward. Obviously, you really need Bryce Young to have a standout, breakout year for the Carolina Panthers to really reconsider how they view their future. And Jatavion Sanders, look for him to be a huge part of that. Some other guys I have in this team who are not necessarily noteworthy, but I really, really like and love their story a lot. A guy in Jordan Travis going to the New York Jets, who is definitely not going to start. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is still there, but he is a nice little backup option just because of his incredible story. Obviously, last year with Florida State, he had a breakout year, had a Heisman Trophy level kind of season until he broke his leg in a tragic incident. So I'm just really rooting for Jordan Travis as an NFL player. He may not be a high-level starter that can get you production every day of the week, but he certainly is a feel-good story who I'm definitely going to follow as his NFL career progresses. He could be one of those journeyman backup QBs who is good for a game or two, as we've seen in the past, than guys like Mike White for the Jets, guys like Trevor Siemian, perhaps. So I'm really, really, really intrigued to see how Jordan Travis fits into the Jets' plans for the upcoming years. But that should just about do it for this segment of this show. I was really happy that I got to analyze my rookie mock draft for you guys, because this is just an incredibly exciting class. We should all have fantastic NFL careers. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how the class of 2024 plans out in the NFL. But coming up next, even more exciting segments I'm very excited for, because there is more Euros action, more soccer action. So next segment, I'm going to be telling you guys the guidelines and tricks of the trade to play fantasy soccer. It should be a very intriguing segment, and stick around for the end of the show, where I will be talking about the Euros, specifically my Euros fantasy squad that I'm really excited to show you guys. So please stick around and tune in for that. You don't want to miss it. We will be right back.